I've just been looking at old episodes of The Week in Gear because in this video, I'm going to bring you the best gear of 2024. So, prepare to get gas because it's time for the year in gear. There have been some fantastic gear releases in 2024. There's also been a few stinkers which failed to make the cut, and I will talk about those in this video as well. I have several categories which gear has been nominated by me, chosen by me, and decided by me to go in this video. So you might disagree with some of it because there's going to be some gear that I talk about that you think, why is he praising that? It's rubbish. And there's going to be some gear that isn't even in this video that you think, why? I spent my hard-earned cash on that and Andy's not even talking about it. Well, it's just a video for fun, and we can discuss my choices in the comments section or somewhere on Reddit or something like that. And at the end of this video, I'm going to choose Andy's pick of the year, and that gear will receive a Golden Geek Award. I actually don't know what that means. Maybe it'll become a thing. This year it's just an accolade that whoever made that piece of gear can say, yes, we got the Golden Geek Award, and it'll be something on screen. Next year, it might be something physical. You never know. This show is sponsored by PEDALTRAIN. More about them in a bit. The first category is the most hyped guitar product of 2024, and up for consideration, the Behringer Tuner Fuzz, the Behringer pedals, the ones that have been released recently, the Gibson Les Paul Studio 2024 edition, the Neural DSP Nano Cortex, the Fender Tom DeLonge Starcaster, yes, that was this year, it seems such a long time ago, and the Fender / Hello Kitty fuzz and guitar and all the stuff that came with it. So, let's run through each of those in turn, and I'll give you my opinion. The Behringer Tuner Fuzz went up for about 99 notes. And that made it more accessible and more interesting to people that would never go near, let's say, a $300 or note Behringer Fuzz pedal. I love Behringer Fuzz pedals. I love the Tuner Fuzz, but I don't think it's the best fuzz they do, and it isn't the best fuzz they've released this year. It just seems that people liked it and got on the Behringer train, and I hope that if you did buy the Tuner Fuzz, then you dive further into Behringer's catalogue, because they're great pedals. Moving on to the Behringer pedals. Well, let's put it this way. Where is it? I bought one. The Fuzz Bender, how could I not? And I had so much trouble with these pedals, particularly the Centaur Overdrive at first, with Behringer taking that name and just using it. And then I thought, you know what? There's so many boutique brands that are getting so close to Centaur and having half-man, half-horse graphics that Behringer have just gone, bang, there we go. That's it. It's called the Centaur Overdrive. And I quite respect that. If it was like a DS1 ripoff or something that was still in production, mass production, and still something that's dear to my heart, I'd have a bigger problem. But yeah, I kind of respect Behringer for doing that. And this Fuzz Bender, although it shares the same name as the Keeley pedal, which is going to cause problems, I'm going to shoot that out against other tone bender pedals that I have, or my favorite ones at least. The Gibson Les Paul Studio 2024. The One, Gibson called it. They called it the One. That's how much hype they put on this guitar. And then they priced it higher than I think the people in the video, or the type of demographic in the video, like that promotes the Gibson Les Paul Studio. I don't think those people could afford, or would rather would choose to buy the Gibson Les Paul Studio 2024. So it's so much hype, and the main hype was around the fact that it had binding on the neck. Anyway. The Neural DSP Nano Cortex. Right. I was at NAMM 2024, which seems years ago, but it was only 11 months ago. And I walked past the Neural DSP booth several times and didn't see it because it was not a booth. It was just the big sign that said soon, or maybe a hashtag soon. And I didn't even get that it was Neural DSP. It's like, Neural DSP should be here somewhere. And then it was only because I saw on Instagram that Neural DSP had done this amazing marketing thing of just writing soon that I realized that I was stood right next to it. And then it came, the what's it called? The Nano Cortex, there we go. And it seems to have upset both people that don't own a Nano Cortex and people that are Nano Cortex freaks. I haven't played one myself. I do know that it's missing a few features of the Big Brother. It's just the huge hype. I thought I had such balls to just put the word soon. And I hope it wasn't a mistake made by Neural DSP and they didn't just forget to do something or missed a release date or something. I hope they wanted that. Right, the Fender Tom DeLonge Starcaster. I bought one. I do work with Fender. They do send guitars out for review. They did not send this out for review. I spent my hard-earned cash on it. And while I really, really enjoy it, I was obsessed with this guitar when it came out. And it doesn't quite deliver what my gear acquisition syndrome thought it might. It is fun, and it is, in fact, the more I hold it, the more I like it. But it isn't what I hoped it would be. It's still a great guitar, and I'm still glad I have it. There's a bit of buyer's remorse there, but yeah, so much hype around this, and I think it's quite funny. I'm kind of, if me now could look at me then, he would be laughing at himself and saying, "Save your money, Andy, idiot." Sticking with Fender, the Kitty, the Hello Kitty fuzz and guitars. I wanted to jump on this as soon as it was released because as a YouTuber, I of course want people to watch my videos, and when you have a hot topic, you think people might watch that video. And boy, was I ahead of this release and due to do a whole release video, and then it kind of fell through for one reason or another. Make of that what you will. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I didn't expect there to be that much hype around that release. It was huge, and I'm, in retrospect, kind of glad that I avoided it. It's not to say that I won't do it in the future, because I still haven't tried that fuzz pedal. I'm pretty sure it's the Hammertone fuzz repackaged and the octave removed, but I still think it's cool. But my word, what hype. It went out of the guitar industry. That's how much hype it was. So my choice for the most hyped product of 2024 goes to the Hello Kitty fuzz and guitar and all that. I don't think there was any other product this year that blasted through like that did. So well done, Fender. Well done, Hello Kitty. You made it. Congratulations. Second category, let's get into guitars. It is the best signature guitar. And doing the week in gear this year made me realize just how many products are signature products. It is almost unbelievable. And I haven't got a figure or a number. If someone wants to work it out, stick it in the comments section, that would be great. But I would love to know the percentage of products that were purely signature versus non-signature that made it into TWIG. And certainly there was 1 week, I think, where everything was a signature product. And it makes sense. So, and sometimes it's not even like big names, it's slightly smaller names, but they've attached an artist or someone to the product. Makes it far more enticing, I guess. There's jumping into someone else's existing fan base. So, the nominations for Best Signature Guitar are Ibanez Paul Gilbert FRM 350, Gibson Kirk Hammett Greeny, Epiphone Youngblood SG Jr., Jack White Fender Triplecaster, D'Angelico and Giacomo Tura's Bedford. The Ibanez Paul Gilbert FRM 350 is simply one of the best guitars I've ever played at any price point. I am madly in love with Paul Gilbert as a person and as a guitar player, and because we're about the same sort of size and same kind of build, his guitars fit me. And I have the FRM 300 just here, and it's similar to this. It's just black and gold and gorgeous, but two humbuckers. And this is great, but the triple mini humbuckers gives it a certain tone that doesn't make it that versatile. It's definitely very character voiced. And I got to play the FRM 350, the one that Paul Gilbert played on tour, and it's just mind-blowing. It is just a great guitar. So that definitely deserves to be in this list. Let's go for the next one, which is the Gibson Kirk Hammett. Let's come back to the Gibson. The Epiphone Youngblood SG Jr. I think I said in that episode of TWIG that it is a guitar that changes everything. And the reason being is that I think it's going to get more young people into guitar, and it's priced around the point where young people can hopefully still afford it, or certainly more towards that area. Youngblood, although I don't know him as much as an artist, he certainly is at a point for younger people a bit of a hero. And by putting out a guitar that might inspire more younger guitar players to play, means that guitar will stay around for longer. That's why we have that on this list. The Jack White Fender Triplecaster is quite simply one of the best Telecaster things I've ever seen in my life. I also got to play Jack White's actual guitar at NAMM this year, and it was so broken and busted and played in and toured and beautiful, and the sound was great. It made me play one of the best times I've ever played. I remember being at NAMM. Like, playing at NAMM is difficult because you've got all this stuff going on. You're trying to film stuff, and there's people saying hello, and you want to meet people, and you want to do all that stuff, but then you've got to play guitar. And then you're like, all right, I've totally forgotten how to play guitar at this point. That guitar I picked up, and just stuff fell out of me. It was really good fun. The Triplecaster, really expensive, but something quite special, and I'm sad that I don't have one. The D'Angelico Giacomo Tura Bedford, however, I've played it. I've played it with Giacomo Tura. I have one in the other room. The review's coming out any moment now. It is a great guitar that is just a little different. So we've got the Fenders, we've got the Gibsons, we've got the Epiphones, we've got the Ibanez's. D'Angelico is a brand that I've liked a lot in the last couple of years, and it's nice to see them diving more into signature artists, particularly younger ones and ones that are upcoming. That's not fair. The ones that are proving themselves to be worthy on places like Instagram. And Giacomo's a lovely guy and a monster player, and this guitar certainly fits everything he does. And I quite like funk as well, I've learned this year, so that guitar has a certain place in my heart. But back to the Gibson Kirk Hammett Greeny. This probably would have been on the list anyway because of its iconinity. However, I went to Thomann recently with my friend Steve, and I played both the Epiphone and the Gibson Greeny, and I very nearly moved some funds around to walk away with the Gibson Greeny. It absolutely blew my mind. It has got a big old thick and chunky neck on it. It is Les Paul through and through. The pickups, or rather, sorry, the sound, which I definitely put down to something to do with the pickups, just sound, well, like the Greeny when I've heard it on recordings. However, there's a big difference between the Epiphone and the Gibson, and there is no way I'd buy the Epiphone, although I quite liked that at first. And then I plugged in the Gibson and everything fell apart. So I haven't yet decided that I'm not buying a Gibson Greeny, or at least trying to get one somehow, because the one that I played in Thomann in the shop was mind-blowing. And that is why it is unbelievably my favorite signature guitar this year. And I'm pretty sure I took the P out of it in a video, and I was sure I was going to go for the Ibanez. Yeah, it's Gibson. Well done. Congratulations. On to best looking guitar, judging these on nothing more than the aesthetics. They might also be great guitars. They might also sound good. They might be priced phenomenally or extortionately. However, the main factor is they are pretty. Here's the list. The Hagstrom Megin Cream, the Ibanez Manuel Gardner Quest Series, the MGFM10, the Squier LE Paranormal Telecaster Deluxe in black, and the Fender Chris Shiflett Tele Deluxe, and the Gretsch Princess Antonov Electromatic CVT. The Hagstrom is just, it's not too far from the norm in the sense that it doesn't break any ground in new design, except that it takes a very old design and just adds a few little things, a few little quirks here and there that makes it new. And I think that all those curves work well together, and it just looks beautiful. And it's, I said I wasn't going to talk about price, but that price means that some people will get to appreciate quirkier-ish guitars at a lower price. Manuel Gardner Signature. I did not expect to like this. I love those Quest Q Series headless Ibanez's. I'm not too fond of the sounds generally. The pickups are a little bit, I don't know, bleh. But the playability and the looks, it just looks like Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., to give him his real name, invented and designed a guitar, and that would be it. And in the flesh, it might even be more than it is in the pictures. In the flesh, in the wood, it drew my eye every time I walked past it at Guitar Summit this year, and I fell in love, and you'll probably see one near me very soon. The Squier LE Paranormal Tele Deluxe Bluck. This is the guitar that has spent more time in my cart on various music retailer websites than any other guitar. It's gone in, it's gone out, it's gone in, and then I've bought something else and I had to take that out in order to buy the thing that I needed, like, you know, something boring like a cable. And this Tele does everything the Troublemaker from Fender did, but it seems to do it a lot better, and it's a lot more, it's just very pretty. Even the gold as well, I can't really, the black just tips it for me. I'm amazed I haven't bought one yet. That's how much, it's just the neck, okay? So purely from beauty, I love the prettiness. It's a modern C neck, which means I would just spend time looking at it, and that's an expensive picture to hang on the wall. The Fender Chris Shiflett. I went to Thomann to try the Fender Chris Shiflett Telecaster with the intention of buying it if it fitted my hand. And 2 days before I was due to go, somebody else bought it. I don't know who you are, or what you do, or where you're from, but I would love to find you and play your guitar, please. That guitar just speaks to me. I have a thing for Fender Telecaster Deluxes, yet I've never played one that tips me over the edge of buying one. And I thought this was going to be the one, and I never got to play it, which is how I got to play that Greeny that I spoke about earlier. I think it's absolutely stunning. And it's the red one I'm talking about, of course. It's just stunning. I know it's just a Tele, but it's stunning. Big headstock, I like it. Then, of course, we have the Gretsch Princess Antonov Electromatic CVT, which I'm not going to hold for you. This is my pick. This is the prettiest guitar this year. It takes everything that I love about the Squier J Mascis Jazzmaster, just makes it even more pretty, and somehow brings back a shape that I didn't even know existed and made me want to own this guitar. At some point in the future, I will either buy one or acquire one somehow and have it for some period of time before I probably sell it on because the neck's nothing for me. But I just want to have one because it's pretty. And I'm probably not the only one. So yes, the winner here is Gretsch with the Princess. Congratulations. Up next, let's talk money. Let's talk less money. It's the best budget guitar pedal of 2024. Up for consideration is the Line 6 Pod Express, the Tone X1, the TC Electronic Plethora X1, the Walrus Audio Fundamental Ambient Reverb, and the Moore Prime M1. Now let's quickly define what a budget pedal means, in my opinion. It means, firstly, that it's probably under $200, which everything on this list is, but also it means that you get a lot of value for that. So let's say that a $200 Overdrive might not be as much value as a $200 multi-effects, even though I think a $200 Overdrive, if it's the one, you know, it's worth it. That's not what I'm talking about here. So the Line 6 Pod Express takes everything that's best about the Line 6 Pod and sticks it in a small format pedal, and then it's 175 notes. I played one, I thought it was great. There's a black one, there's the red one, there's the black one, which is I think is higher gain. I just think it's a lot of tone on offer and a well-made pedal, and it's well supported by Line 6, 175 notes. The Tone X1 at 149 notes, however, this thing changed my life. In fact, it's there. I'm very rarely am I further than 2 steps away from the Tone X1. I love the Tone X. This, I still haven't reviewed it because I just don't know how. It's that good. It's now got effects and everything in it with the update. IK Multimedia have absolutely just changed everything. 149 euros for that, which is an amp sim. It's a tuner. It's effects. It goes directly into your phone and records to your phone if you want to. It's got a whole community of tones behind it that you can get for free or you can purchase. It just does so much. And most importantly, it sounds fantastic. If there was one pedal that I would take to a gig, it's that one. The TC Electronic Plethora X1, $169. I love the X3. I have it around me a lot. It's a great pedal to have in the effects loop of an amp if you need to add some good reverb or some good modulation or delay or something like, or a noise gate. The X1, of course, makes it smaller, less capable than the X3, but it's 169 notes. It's in my opinion, a no-brainer. The Walrus Audio Fundamental Ambient Reverb is like a Walrus Audio slur, but affordable. It hasn't got quite the power, but it's in that ballpark. And if you need something that isn't meat and potatoes reverb, if you need something that is a bit wishy-washy, let's play dreamy guitar, it is 109 notes or thereabouts. And yeah, it's the sort of pedal that you can just pick up and add to a pedal board. And someone says, right, we're going to chill out now. We're going to make something really relaxing to listen to. All right, stick that on and away you go. Add a delay before it or even after it, and you are off to the races. The Moore Prime M1. This is a bit of an unknown to me because I haven't played it. But just looking at the features, it would be wrong not to include this because it's the cheapest here at 99 notes. And I'm not in love with the gain on this thing. But if you had to play a gig and you had to only take a pedal that was this big and you needed functionality, it does pip the Tone X1 in those terms, but it still wouldn't make me buy it. I wouldn't buy the more, what's it called? The M1 or the S1? The M1, sorry. Because it doesn't quite do the sounds that I want. However, it is extremely versatile and straight to PA and things like that. It's great. I assume it is. I haven't played it. My choice of this category is, of course, the IK Multimedia Tone X1, the best affordable pedal this year. True game changer. We're going from budget pedal to budget amp of the year, and up for consideration are the Boss Katana Gen 3, the Positive Grid Spark 2, the Boss Katana Mini X, the Line 6 Catalyst CX60, the Blackstar Debut 100R, and the Moore SD10i Intelligent Desktop Amp. This is a very difficult category for me to explain because amps have just got better and better in terms of tone and therefore cheaper and cheaper. So we'll start at the top with the Boss Katana Gen 3 50, 319 notes, and I'll stick by this. Everybody should own at least a Boss Katana 50. The only problem with the Gen 3 is that its biggest competitors are the Mark II and the original number 1. There's nothing wrong with those original ones and the Mark IIs. The Gen 3 does add more functionality and, in my opinion, does sound better than the one its predecessors. However, the surprise is not there, as when we first saw the first Boss Katana and then got more functionality with the Mark II. Gen 3 didn't make such a big splash, in my opinion, but it is still great, deserves to be on this list. The Positive Grid Spark 2, again, a sequel. It does all the things that the Spark 1 should have done. So when people said, oh, I wish the Spark did this and that and was battery powered and had this, Spark 2 does it. It's battery powered, which means you can take it anywhere pretty much. It has this AI thing where you can type in a sort of tone you want. Give me a Sunday morning blues in the style of Jimmy Page, but he's got a hangover. And it'll give you that, pretty much. It's unbelievable. Then there's a lot of learning stuff available with that amp. Absolutely mind-blowing what it can do. The Katana Mini X is, however, a bit more of a splash maker. It has more impact than the Gen 3, in my opinion, because, again, it's portable, it's 150 notes, it sounds great, it's loud, it's got almost the right collection of effects. Synth? Really? It still hurts, boss. Yeah, I think it's a great sounding amp. If you're looking for something that's small and portable, that's a great choice if you can't reach the 300 notes that the Spark 2 is. The Line 6 Catalyst CX60 is good because it didn't sell that well, I don't think, and it didn't make that big of a splash. So at 277 notes, I just think it's a great option for powering things through and playing loud guitar. I personally wouldn't buy one, but it deserves to be on this list because there are people that disagree with me. Blackstar Debut 100R, however, I played the 50R. It is one of the best sounding analog non sort of bells and whistles amps that is out there. However, it did lack a little bit of headroom, so the 100R must certainly give you that. And I played the 50R with the drummer. It sounded great. The 100R must sound even better because it gives you what you need, that little push to get louder than the man or girl or boy or robot with the sticks. The Moore SD10i Intelligent Desktop Amp. Again, it's the cheapest amp here, 139. It does a lot that the Spark does. It does a lot that the Boss Katana Mini does. It does things that they don't, I think. What it doesn't do is it doesn't quite have the support that those other products have. So I fear that Moore is one of those companies that releases a product and then moves on to the next one, and then kind of forgets about previous products, which actually you could accuse other companies on this list of doing that. But at 139-ish notes, it is a great sounding and great playing amp. I've played one. If I didn't already have other amps of that size, I would have walked away from that music shop with that more. But my choice for the budget amp of the year is the Positive Grid Spark 2. And some of you will definitely have expected me to have chosen the Katana there. I just don't think it made that much big of an impact, and Katana Mark II is still pumping out there. It's not to say you shouldn't buy it. Positive Grid have pipped Boss this time at the post because of all the functionality and the 3D sound you get. However, you can't really gig it. I'm talking myself out of this now. Still the Positive Grid Spark 2. Now, before we move on to the next category, let's have a little word from our sponsor making this video possible for you, PEDALTRAIN and their pedalboard planner. If you're planning on buying a new pedal and want to know if it's going to fit on your existing pedal board, there's a website you need to take a look at. This is pedalboardplanner.com from PEDALTRAIN, and here you can select one of the many pedal boards, let's say a Classic 3. Now you can add some pedals to it to see if they fit. You can even connect boards together. Aha! You can change the background to something more Nirvana. Festival season. It's free, it's easy to use, and there are lots of pedals available. Check out pedalboardplanner.com to make life easier and quite fun as well. You'll find links to that underneath this video. On with the show. Budget Guitar of the Year, a very coveted position because let's face it, budget guitars is the meat and potatoes of most people's collection. So we have, hang on. Let's first define budget. Budget means, to me, something you should save up a little bit for, but not for years to have, and not dream about having that guitar. Although, depending on your financial position, of course, you can dream about this thing. I'm putting myself somewhere I probably shouldn't there. However, it doesn't mean they have to be cheap. That's my point. They don't have to be cheap. They do have to be more affordable alternatives. And up for consideration, the Epiphone Les Paul Custom Ebony inspired by Gibson, the Harley Benton ST Modern, the PRS SECE 24 Standard Satin, the Spira S400 MGR, and the Ibanez GRX120 SP-VRD. Sorry, Ibanez. Okay, some really exciting guitars this year. Some of them I've played, some of them I haven't. Let's go over from the top. The Epiphone Les Paul Custom Ebony inspired by Gibson. Say what you like about Epiphone, and I often do. This inspired by Gibson range is a cut above the standard Epiphone stuff. So Epiphone, I still believe, should be offering the best budget Les Pauls on the market, and I don't think they are most of the time. However, in this range, which costs about 700 notes, which is not super affordable, but compared to everything else Epiphone is releasing I've played one of these, it was phenomenal. It's still Epiphone plasticky. In my opinion, I don't like that kind of thing, so I wouldn't get one. But it is going to tick the box for a lot of people that want a classy looking Les Paul custom. The Harley Benton ST Modern, however, took what the Modern Plus was, took away a few things that were maybe unnecessary, and slapped a cheaper price on it. Harley Benton are always bringing out stuff that is affordable and, on the whole, good. This one is one of the better ranges they have. They just seem to be having a problem with stocking them at the moment. So, yeah, definitely deserves to be on this list. The PRS SECE 24 Standard Satin, this went out for $499. I think it's the cheapest PRS that has ever been. And since I played my friend Steve's PRS this year, I'm either that or I'm getting older. I'm kind of turning towards PRS guitars, and that one is, if you want a PRS or you want something of that shape, I think the quality has to be there to have PRS's name on it, right? Again, haven't played one, will do, promise, definitely deserves to be on this list. Spira S400 MGR, firstly, one of the best looking guitars I've ever seen because it's this olive drab green that I purely love. However, I played one at Guitar Summit. It was great. It delivered everything I hoped it would, and it sounded great. It played well. It made me play well on I think it's a modern C neck, which I normally don't get on with, but that guitar was just brilliant. And it's the cousin or sister brand of Jet guitars, and they're the heavier, pointier versions of Jet guitars. Jet guitars I love. Spira guitars, I'm going to learn to love them because I am going to get to play some more in the upcoming months. Definitely deserves to be on this list because it's 349 notes, and for that price, you should be knocking down their door. And then finally on the list is the Ibanez GRX120 SPVRD. This almost went on the prettiest guitars of the year list, and I think it should have actually. Come here, baby. Come on, come on. Oh dear. There. I love this. It's very Andy. It is mostly red. It is a bolt-on neck. It's the Geo range, meaning it's affordable. It's 225 notes. And I reviewed it in a video that's either on the channel or coming soon. If it weren't for the tremolo on this being pretty shoddy, this would be a fantastic guitar. If you don't trem, and I don't, I've locked that down, this is a fantastic guitar. And it even sounds great, considering that it's affordably priced pickups in there. This is just simply a great guitar. If there was a hardtail, maybe it could go for 200. The fact that it's red is a lot of it for me. That represents the Geo range, and it does exactly what it should. It excites me about guitar without taking too much money out of my wallet. However, it isn't the guitar I'm putting forward at this category. Out of all these, I'm putting forward the Spira S400 MGR. Did I get that right? Yes. 349 notes. It really excited me about guitar. I couldn't fault it. It definitely deserves to be going forth to the final. If you need a cup of tea whilst watching this and you need to go and put the kettle on and you don't know where your pause button is, now's the time to do it, because this is Accessory of the Year. Definitely the most boring but necessary category. Up for consideration are the Walrus Audio Canvas Power Supply line, the D'Addario Auto Lock Swivel Strap, the Harley Benton Power Plant ISO 12 AC Pro Modular, the IK Multimedia iLoud Micro Monitor Pros, and the Fender Mustang Micro Plus. Accessories are not that exciting, but without them we couldn't connect guitars or hear them or record them or do stuff like that. So I think it's important to have this category. And the first thing to come up here, the Walrus Canvas Power Supply. These are professional level power supplies, meaning that they're not budget. However, they're slim, they fit under pedal boards, they fit under PEDALTRAIN power pedal boards, and they certainly do everything I need them to do, and I never need to think about them. I never need to think, is this thing going to break or fall apart or anything like that. It just does its job that needs to be done. See, it's not that exciting. I've tried to find something super exciting about it. It just does what it needs to do. That should be exciting. It isn't. None of this is. The D'Addario Auto Lock Swivel Strap. It does everything that the Auto Lock strap does, but it swivels. And as an SG player, if you try and put an Auto Lock strap on, he says looking for the Auto Lock. Yeah, there it is. Hang on. So this is the Auto Lock strap, and there's an SG. Wow, well done, Andy. It's like you thought this through. If you put the Auto Lock strap on, that just clicks on like that, and then you put that side on like that, you get a twisted strap. But the Auto Lock swivel, which I have somewhere, I think I lent it to somebody. Yeah, it's not here. I definitely lent it out. Darn it. I lend straps to people. How weird is that? That has a swivel thing, so you can turn that around and your strap isn't twisted. Again, not exciting, not interesting, but if you're an SG player and you need a locking strap, pretty darn good. The Harley Benton Power Plant, the ISO 12 AC Pro Modular. It's a good power supply, it's well priced, it deserves to be on this list as a release because of the price point to performance. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Most people will absolutely get away with using this, and it's modular. The IK Multimedia iLoud Micro Monitor Pros are the things that I use when I go to guitar shows and I need to monitor stuff in a hotel room and check the sounds after a day of recording. They're on the hotel desk. You know that little tiny shelf you get that sometimes is a desk and has a very expensive fridge underneath it or something like that. Well, the fridge isn't expensive. Well, it probably is, but the stuff in the fridge definitely is expensive. These speakers go side by side, or like that, next to my laptop, and they enable me to bring you that content. So it had to go on this list because they sound good. You can carry them easily in a suitcase without worrying about, have to take out your favorite t-shirt. Also, they're fairly, not cheap, but they're not massively priced. And you can recalibrate the room. So you can, use a microphone and calibrate the room if you want to be super nerdy and super controlled about your sound, which I am. Next one is the Fender Mustang Micro Plus. Yeah, I love the Mustang Micro. There's a few things I didn't like about it, and you had to know what the lights meant. So you had to take a little card with you, and there was no real way, unless you really learned that product, to know what you were doing. Then Boss came out with the Katana Go, and that had a little screen on it. And then Fender gave us the Micro Mustang Plus. It sounds great. It does Fender sounds very well. It does everything the Micro should have done, a Micro Mustang. And it's relatively affordable. I didn't check the price, but I'm sure Victor will put a price up on screen now. Thanks, Victor, for all that you do. And yeah, it's a great choice if you need a headphone amplifier to work with. My choice is the Fender Mustang Micro Plus. That's going through to the final. Not all gear this year was absolutely necessary, shall we say. So I've created a category called Did We Really Need This? And up for consideration are the Dan Electro Big Sitar reissue, the Epiphone Firebird 1 and the Epiphone Firebird 5, the Epiphone Mando Bird, the Jet Elite series from Jet Guitars, the Boss DS1 WH Distortion Limited Edition, and the Gibson Les Paul Studio 2024. Now, let's start at the top. The Dan Electro Big Sitar reissue. I'm not saying any of these things are bad, I'm just questioning their existence. And I actually love this thing. I've played one several times, and I've picked one of them up many times. It just doesn't make me want to spend 800 notes on it. So, and there's a lot of it about it that there's this extra thing that I don't know sitars, but there's an extra thing on the side that I don't think it needs. And just adding a sitar bridge to a regular guitar seems a much more sensible way of getting this sound. It is cool, I just thought it was unnecessary for that price. The Epiphone Firebird 1 and 5 represent what Epiphone did this year. They seem to release extremely expensive guitars that didn't seem justified in their price. They weren't offering more or better. And I've played the Epiphone Firebird 1, and it really wasn't worth the over 1,000 notes that it was being asked. And yeah, I find Firebirds exciting, but not at that price. So this kind of represents Epiphone's decision to release expensive guitars when, for me, Epiphone should be making guitars that are affordable for people that want facsimiles of guitars that they possibly could never afford, such as a Gibson Les Paul. The Epiphone Mando Bird is just weird. It's 400 notes. It doesn't add anything, in my opinion. Or does it? It's just weird, and it made me question why. Why does this exist? The Elite series from Jet. Now, Jet Guitars, big fan. One of the first adopters on YouTube of the guitars. I think I even had the first review. They offer amazing guitars at their price points and above. So any Jet guitar you buy, it would probably cost you at least another 200 notes if it had another name on it. So Jet Guitars were offering you budget instruments. Then they did the Elite series, which I think they started around 700 notes. I don't think that the bang for your buck, the price to features is there for this. So I think Jet, I don't know how well they sold, and Jet Guitars, if you're watching this and you've sold thousands of them, please correct me, and I will absolutely correct myself in a future video. But I don't know. I want to know if it was, it's a why does this exist? I don't want a Jet premium. I want a Jet cheap. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. The Boss DS1 WH, so the white DS1. This is coming from a point of someone who has a severe addiction to Boss DS1s, and I have ordered the Boss DS1 in white, but I still question why it exists, and I'm free to do so. And of course, all of these things, no one's making anyone buy it. And I always think it's weird when people write stuff on YouTube and YouTubers like me complain about things existing. Just don't buy it. Just scroll on or walk past it or whatever. But it's a fun category for things to talk about. And the Boss, the white DS1, it just makes me question why. So that's why it's on this list. The Gibson Les Paul Studio 2024. Is it the second time it's on in this show? Yes, it was also in the Hype of the Year category. The Gibson Les Paul Studio is traditionally a cut price version of the Les Paul, where it has all the bells and whistles taken, or many of the bells and whistles taken off, still is a Gibson, still has Gibson components, still made by Gibson, just looks not as pretty, but gives you the tone, or most of it. The 2024 Les Paul Studio has binding on the neck, flashy colors, and they're pushing it as the one again, and yet the price is close to 2,000 notes. I just don't get it. A big why, not the one, the why, I think was something highly intelligent that I said about it in a previous video, and that is the winner of this category. I think the Les Paul Studio 2024 edition is an absolute joke because of its price point. So, well done, Gibson. You've won the Pointless Award. As I'm being critical, let's go even further down that road with a category called Fail of the Year, which is pretty self-explanatory. Up for consideration, the Vox APC-1, the Gibson 1959 Humbucker Collector's Edition Series 1, the Boss Katana Go, Trump guitars. Now, let's start with the Vox. I saw it at NAMM, I played it. The guy Kenny demoed it for me. Kenny was awesome, lovely guy, great player, professional musician. So nothing against him. The Vox APC-1, hugely overpriced for a guitar that should be 150 plus the bits that you put in it. So 250 tops, 299. I think 279 might have been what I expected it to be when I did an episode of TWIG. And it's so expensive for what it is. It does nothing for anybody. So, huge fail Vox. The Gibson 1959 Humbucker Collector's Edition Series 1. Yeah, 1,000 notes for some humbuckers, which are supposed to better recreate the PAF pickups than any other Gibson pickup that recreate the PAF pickups have ever recreated. This is frustrating for many reasons. One, I kind of like it because it comes in the case, and it annoys me that I have something positive about such a ridiculous product. And I like the case. I'd buy the case if it was, you know, reasonably priced just to open. Oh, look, I think it's fun. No, it annoys me for another reason, is that the PAF sound, there is no such thing really, because they weren't really counting coil winds and they weren't really counting the specs of those pickups back then. And of course, with deterioration over the years, I don't know what the PAF sound is really. And several companies claim to have the PAF, but there isn't a PAF. It's a misnomer. So it annoys me that these Gibson pickups are aiming to recreate something that doesn't even exist and charging you $1,000 for it. It's annoying. I could go on. The Boss Katana Go. Now, I love this as a product, as a piece of guitar gear and a practicing tool and even a performance tool and a learning tool and all that. It's brilliant. It's got a lot of the Katana's power in a little headphone amp with a display and a tuner. You plug it in, you're rocking within seconds. You can exchange tones. It's fantastic. It sounds great. It has so much that I love. But Boss dropped a bollock by making them and then finding out that they couldn't get a part that was included in them, or at least this is what they've said, and therefore discontinued it. So they released an amazing product and then discontinued it because they couldn't make it anymore. Fail. Last on the list is, Trump guitars. That's all I'm going to say. The winner of this category is the Boss Katana Go, just because, yeah. However, Boss may redeem themselves if they were to bring it back at any point in the next year. I hope you do, Boss, if you're watching this, and send messages to Boss, because I think that the Katana Go could go up against many other processors as one of the best, fairly low-priced, small processors ever. But not this year. I thought I'd put a little bit in for me. This category is called Andy's Guilty Pleasure, because I wanted to talk about this stuff and they didn't fit into any other category without having 20 items in every category. So, in my Guilty Pleasure collection is the Squier Classic Vibe Antigua Burst Finish Collection, the Gibson Theodore Standard, and the Gibson 2024 Victory line, but the Anaconda Burst, I think is what it's called, the green one. Now, these products are not going to excite a lot of people or maybe they don't, but they truly excite me. And it's really funny that Gibson are on there twice, because I have a kind of, strange relationship with Gibson products. They don't generally tend to impress me that much, and then they really do. But first, the Squier Classic Vibe. I bought the Bass 6, quite simply. I bought the Bass 6. It took months to arrive, and it's in the other room sitting there. And quite frankly, I haven't played it yet because I'm too scared. I haven't even taken it out of the box because I know that once I pick it up, I'm only going to be playing that guitar. It's a Bass 6, the version I've got. There's also a Strat and a Tele and a P-Bass as well. I love Antiqua Burst. I know people hate it or love it. I know it's a Marmite thing. I dig it so hard. And I have the Bass 6 that I haven't unboxed yet. And I wasn't going to tell you that. I was just going to mention the guitar. Anyway, the Gibson Theodore Standard. I love the Gibson Theodore shape. I think it's something new and refreshing from Gibson, even though it's old. I think it's bold. I don't think it's the game changer that Gibson claimed it was. I think that there should be an Epiphone version of this, and it would sell hotcakes to those people who normally buy Jazzmasters and things like that. Squier Jazzmasters, I should say. Yeah, the standard Theodore, again, I thought it was a great looking guitar. I heard the sound demos. I liked it very much. It was a bit out of my price point to spend on something that I didn't really love, but wanted to talk about. And it has a slim taper 60s neck, which I really don't get on well with. So if they did a 50s version in Epiphone, I'd snap that up, absolutely. And if they did an Epiphone version of the Gibson Victory in, was it Anaconda Burst? I didn't write it down. The green Victory, I just think is vile in all the best ways. And I'm hoping that these absolutely bomb completely so that I can pick one up for cheap in a few years. Again, it's a thin neck. Again, it is a sort of more shreddery guitar, I think, that doesn't really fit me, but I'd like to play it in an ironic way. So yeah, that is my my pick, actually. No, it's not really. It's the Squier Antique Reverse Bass 6. That is going into the final to be up for the Golden Geek. I waited from April till December to get that guitar, and I was thinking about it the entire year, and now I can't bring myself to unbox it. Next category, please. The No Price Limit Best Pedal of the Year 2024 was the hardest category I had to get down to a shortlist. I spent more time on creating this shortlist than I did for all the other lists in this video. And choosing the one for this was super difficult, and I'm still not 100% sure that I've got it right because I feel emotions for these pedals. 2024 was a great year for pedals again, and there's been some phenomenal releases, there's been some affordable releases, there's been some astronomically priced releases, and these are my favorite. The Crazy Tube Circuits White Whale version 2 Analog Tremolo and Reverb. The Crazy Tube Circuits Heat Seeker. The Jam Pedals Rattler version 2. The Electro Harmonix POG 3. The J-Rocket Blue Note Select. The Third Man Hardware and Anna Sounds La Grotte. The Soldano SLO Plus. Sheeran Looper's Looper Plus. Let's start at the top, because I've got it right here. I am never far away from this pedal. The White Whale version 2 from Crazy Tube Circuits is an analog and real spring reverb and tremolo, and not only does it deliver on everything, it's also got a little effect, a little expression pedal so you can do further things with it. Every time that I need a reverb in an amp that doesn't have reverb, this is the pedal I reach for. And I have many contenders that could do similar things. This one just does it for me. As a Fender amp lover, this one gets so close that it scares me sometimes. I'm like, which amp am I using? It sounds great, and the harmonic trem on that is beautiful, as well as the other trem modes. This is just a fantastic pedal. It is not the cheapest pedal, as are none of these in this list, but if you need one reverb, and I love spring reverb, that's a great contender. The Heat Seeker, also, that's here as well. Also by Crazy Tube Circuits. You can see that I do love these pedals because they're here in the studio. I'm never that far from them. This is a Marshall amp in a box and an enhancer based on the sounds of AC/DC. And I love Marshall amps. I love the sort of Plexi, and I love the JCM 800 series. I love that basically hot-rodded Plexi. And it's hard to find a pedal that does some of that well. This does all of that and more well. And there are some absolute terrible Marshall pedals on the market. This is simply one of the best ever released, and it's almost not enough calling it an AC/DC tribute in a box because it just does Marshall so well. I love it. Again, it's never far from me. The Jam pedals Rattler version 2. That is normally right in front of me. I think I put it on a board. It's not there. It should be there. Again, these pedals are right close to me all the time. It's just a great Rat. The original Rat is one of possibly the best distortions ever made. Definitely for that price point, it's like $70. Everybody should have an original Rat, but the filter on it, you know, it's the hotel room shower. You need to get it between there and there to get it perfect sometimes. And the Rattler just irons out some of those little inconsistencies, shall we say. So it's a great pedal if you like Rat distortion. The Electro Harmonix POG 3. Talk about octave pedal that does all the octaves and just creates beautiful sounds. I bought it. It accidentally went on some kind of sale at Thomann, and I sent a message to a few friends and said, I found this. That's a crazy price. It was like a third of the price it should have been, so I just bought it, thinking the purchase would get cancelled and my money would get refunded. I'd never get a pedal. But Thomann, they honoured the price, and I think they found the problem pretty quickly, so don't go looking for it now, or indeed do, click my affiliate link. But they found the problem and they honoured all the sales that had been made at that price, so well done, Thomann. However, I think it's the original 600 notes. It's a lot to ask. Boy, once I plug that thing in, I just haven't got around to showing you in a video. It's phenomenal. That with the White Whale version 2 and the Heat Seeker. Oh, I'll put them all together. The J Rocket Blue Note Select. That is here somewhere. I know it's here because I was playing with it earlier. It is somewhere between a boost and an overdrive, but also does distortion. It's one of those pedals that you switch on, a drive pedal that you switch on, and you don't know it's on until you dig in deep. And it is the sign of a great drive when it's based on your playing. So you can turn it on and keep playing. You can see my video about it. I did a review, and they're just, the notes don't sound any different. And then you play a little harder, and suddenly there's grit there. And then you turn it all the way up and it blows your head with distortion. Absolutely great pedal, not just for blues as I thought it would be. Third Man Hardware and Anna Sounds La Grotte Reverb does a similar thing that the White Whale does. And I don't have that pedal with me because I lent it to my friend Steve, who still hasn't given it back. Steve, still have my yellow pedal. It's great. It is, however, a character reverb. It's not a reverb that you add to your sound. It is a sound that you base around that reverb because it's drivey and fun and like small amp in a box, but with reverb. It's absolutely beautiful. And then the Soldano SLO Plus opened up a whole new world for me. That is here. Again, it's here. I use it all the time. I only got it recently, but since then I'm like, which other drive am I going to use? It's this one. I've never played a Soldano amp. I might after this. This is truly phenomenal, and the best thing is it's 2 channels on this. The original Soldano in a pedal in a box thingy did just the crunch. This does the cleaner one. I've never played a pedal like it that does that kind of drive, so it immediately turns me on to that sound. And finally, the Ed Sheeran Looper Plus is always on the floor down there since I got it. Always. If I'm doing a loop in a video, this is the one I use. Why? Because of these buttons. If you're looping, if you've ever got into looping, you'll know that you have to press that button at exactly the right time. And these are so tactile and so Boss-like in their pushing, but they feel better than a Boss. So they're kind of like a spring-loaded multi-effects pedal. And the timing on these is super easy. Plus you've got all these connections, and it can power off 6 AA batteries as well, or some AA batteries, I'm not sure how many. Great looper pedal. However, it isn't the one that I'm putting in the final. I thought deep and hard about which pedal would make it to the final, and I'm still not sure I've chosen the right one. No, I am sure. It is the White Whale version 2. This is going into the final of my Gear of the Year. The No Price Limit Amp of the Year 2024. Black Star St. James 100, Mesa Boogie Mark II C Plus reissue, the Gibson Falcon 5 combo, the Fender Tone Master 59 Bassman, the Orange and Orianthi Oriverb. Now, amps can get super expensive once you get hand-wired, and also when you stick an artist name on them as well, or something about them is revered and holy. The Blackstar St. James 100 is all of the 50s, or both of the 50s, in one amp, and then 100 watts, giving you more headroom. It's about 1,600 notes, and it is a great all-round amp with some tubes in it, and it's lightweight-ish, and just delivers. I hate to say it, it's not that exciting, you know, like, oh my God, you've got one of those. But if one was at a show, it would definitely deliver a good sound. So it's that amp. The Mesa Boogie Mark II C+ reissue. I played this. I loved this. I could not afford this. I could not justify this. It's $3,500, and that doesn't stop it being brilliant. When I played it, it just instantly gave me that feeling that I never knew I needed. And that's what amps are for me. So some of them are pedal platforms, some of them are just cheap and fun. Some of them you just play a couple of notes and you think, yeah, I'm here now. This is now me. This is the new me. I shall never be the same from this day forward. And I had a similar feeling. I'm looking at it when I'm not going to pick it up. I'm looking at the dual rectifier solo head that I have there, and I'm not picking up because it's huge and heavy. My God, does it sound great! And so does this this reissue Mark II C+. The Gibson Falcon 5, haven't played it, but all the sound demos that I heard are just a refreshing kind of tweedy sound that I think definitely deserves. It's one of the most exciting releases because Gibson amps are back, and I don't think Gibson really did much with it. So I was really thinking there would be more Falcon content and the Falcon 20 and stuff like that, but you don't really see much. It's one of those amps that I'm very much looking forward to plugging into at some point. Definitely deserves to be on the list. The next one is the Fender Tonemaster 59 Bassman. Played it, loved it, love the Toneman, did I say? Tonemaster. Love the Tonemaster series. Some people have a lot of interesting things to say about the Tonemasters. I dig every one of them. The Twin is my least favorite, I guess, but the Deluxe Reverb is a staple, and it does most of the things the Deluxe Reverb does, but it's lighter and it's super easy to carry to a gig, and it looks good on stage. The Bassman, exactly the same, but it does that Bassman sound. It is just, I think it's more expensive than an actual Bassman. Weird. Anyway, it is a phenomenal amp. I loved every second of playing in that, on that, through that, up that. And the XLR out and all that business is just glorious. The Orange and Orianthi Oriverb, very interesting. Didn't like this when it first came out because it is 3,399 notes-ish in that area. That's a lot of money. And I also took the mickey because they said it was lightweight, and it isn't at all. I think it's as heavy as an AC30 or in that ballpark. And I just think it's a fun amp. I love Orange amps generally as both a company and as a tone. If you can, you know, dissolve and condense all that company into one tone. I like Orange's approach to tone, let's put it that way. And the Oriverb actually surprised me when I plugged into it. So it is expensive, it is cool, it looks great, and it does sound brilliant. It's on this list. However, the amp that goes through to the final is the Fender Bassman Tonemaster 59. I think it's making Bassman. We need more Bassmans in the world, and that's going to open up a whole world. So well done to Fender for getting to the final. Okay, here's the big one. As the guitar geek, I must choose the no price limit Guitar of the Year 2024. They are rather predictable brands on this list, by the way. The Fender Ultra 2 Strat. The Fender 70th Anniversary AVRI 2 1954 Strat. The PRS S2 Custom 24, the Fender Player 2 Strat. The Ibanez RGR 5130 Prestige. I've just realized there are 3 Strats on this list. I didn't even do it that way. I just went through my list of all the twigs, and every time a guitar jumped out at me as that's either a great spec guitar or I've played it and it's fantastic, then it went in this list. I did not mean to put 3 Strats in this list. How boring am I? All right, let's go through them. The Ultra 2 Strat. Got one, reviewed it, think it's great. It got a lot of backlash because of all the marketing they did. And this could have been in the Hyped Product of the Year award, actually. But Fender was already in there, I think, twice. My friend Steve borrowed this guitar from me and didn't give it back for a while because he fell in love with it. And he even said, I think he said it was the best Strat he'd ever played. And that's weird because it's got a thin neck on it, and Steve is also a chunky lover like me. Steve, if I've misquoted you there, please let me know in the comments, or just send me a WhatsApp message, or come to my house because you only live 20 minutes away. You should come more often. Regardless, great guitar. Great guitar. The price point is just a bit too high for what it is. It's not the be-all and end-all that Fender say it is, but it is a great Strat. It's a bit like the Gibson Les Paul Studio, or every time one of these brands releases the best version of their guitar, there's a lot of marketing going on. However, the Ultra is a great Strat if you need a stage or studio Strat. What was the next one? Oh yeah, another Strat. It's right here. Again, this is always in the studio. This is the 70th anniversary 54 Strat. Big neck, three positions on the pickup switch, although it does come with a 5 position. I reviewed this, and it is simply one of the strattiest Strats I have ever stratted. It's so stratty that I sold my custom shop Stratocaster. No, I didn't. I swapped my custom shop Stratocaster for an amp that I'm not going to tell you what it is because I've got a video coming up about it. And anytime I think Strat, I think this one. It needs new strings, which is why I haven't played it that much recently. But as it's a 70th anniversary, I'm pretty sure it's limited edition. If you're looking for a Strat that is super stratty and you have about 2,500 notes, you could go much more wrong than getting one of these. It's not the best value for money Strats in the world, but it is one of the best Fender Strats I've ever played, and I've played a lot. Up next, the PRS S2 Custom 24. Again, PRS making stuff cheaper that is PRS. I'm getting more into PRS. I, again, can't explain that. However, this guitar, or these guitars, they have all the things that make PRS, the dictionary definition of PRS for me, yet they made them cheaper. And there's a whole other TWIG episode explaining how they do that. Deserves to be on this list. It's still around the 2,500 note range, so yes, it's expensive. It's not in the budget category. I'm trying not to praise the expensive guitars too much, and I'm failing. The PRS S2 Custom 24 deserves to be on this list because it is a great guitar. I've played one, and it spoke to me. And PRS guitars don't generally speak to me. Let's talk about another Strat, the Fender Player 2 Strat. It's right there. This one is more affordable, but still, it's $750 in that region. It's a great Strat for that price point. It's not as if there's a huge chasm between this and the 54. It's just the 54 is such an amazing Strat that it would be the first one I reached for. However, I would be very happy if I only owned this Strat. If you own one Strat, the Player 2 series is probably the one to get. If you own one Fender Strat, that is. It is noticeably better than a Squier Classic Vibe and things like that, and don't let anyone tell you different. It's just a great Strat, and I should be able to articulate that better. I'm just very aware that I can't. It's beautiful to look at. I love the color scheme. I love the new Player 2 color schemes, and I love the specs. Fender have done a wonderful job with this, and this should be the everyman Strat. So well done, Fender. Let's put it down for a bit. The Ibanez RGR 5130 Prestige. Out of all the RGs, this is the one this year that really floats my banana. I sort of low-key love these pointy things, and I cannot justify getting one. I would love to have one. However, if you're going to get an RGR, which is reverse headstock, by the way, this is an absolute contender. I think it does a lot for the money, even though the money is $2,200. You've got Ibanez quality, and as someone said recently, try playing a bad Ibanez, you'll love it. This is RG at, in my opinion, some of its best. However, the guitar that's going to go forward from this list is the Fender 70th Anniversary AVRI 2 1954 Strat. This one. That's my best guitar of the year with no price limit. A Strat. Now, I've taken all of those winners of their categories and put them in a list so we can find out my gear of the year in this episode of The Year in Gear. and it's probably going to surprise me. I haven't chosen it yet, so we're going to find out as I'm saying these things. Here's the list. Neural DSP Nano Cortex, Gibson Kirk Hammett Greeny Les Paul, Tone X1, the Gretsch Princess Antonov Electromatic CVT, the Spira S400 MGR, the Fender Mustang Micro Plus, the Squier Classic Vibe Antigua Burst Collection, we'll say the Bass 6, the Crazy Tube Circuits White Whale version 2 Analog Tremolo and Reverb, the Positive Grid Spark 2, the Fender Tone Master 59 Bassman, and the Fender 70th Anniversary AVR2 1954 Stratocaster. Out of all these things, I just imagined, I haven't chosen, and I imagined what I would use the most and what would give me the most joy and what would upset me most if I lost it or if it somehow was not available to me anymore. The first thing that came to mind was the Strat, this one. If I didn't have that Strat anymore, I'd be very, very upset, but I'd live. So it's not that. It's almost the Kirk Hammett Greeny Les Paul, because when I walked out of Thomann, I was really sad. And I just couldn't afford it, basically. I couldn't justify spending that amount of money on a guitar that I'm not 100% happy that I'm happy about, if that makes sense. And that might change, but it was a phenomenal guitar. The Fender Mustang Micro Plus, I wouldn't be that upset if it went missing. The Crazy Tube Circuits White Whale is definitely a close second. But the thing that I think is the best gear of the year has to be the Tone X1 from IK Multimedia. It does everything, it has everything that I think should make it this. It sounds phenomenal. It's got a great community behind it. It's affordable. It seems reliable. And just as a guitar player, that opens up such a world. It's an audio interface. It opens up such a world of guitar for anyone who has one, that it absolutely deserves to be Gear of the Year. So, IK Multimedia, congratulations. I didn't know it was going to be that. You've made the best gear this year, in the opinion of me, Andy Ferris, the Guitar Geek. And yeah, I feel a certain weight is lifted off my shoulders now, because I felt quite stressed choosing all this. And I don't even think that I'm not even second guessing myself. I wish I could give more than one place, because there's some super amazing gear this year, but ultimately, Tone X1, if you don't have one and you're willing to invest a bit of time into it, you know, plugging it into the computer and all that, then you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. Plus, there's some unofficial stuff that you can plug into that, control it via MIDI and open up a whole new world. And there's a Facebook group dedicated to that. So again, even more stuff you can do with it. And IK Multimedia don't necessarily endorse that, but they certainly haven't tried to stop it, which I think is very cool. Alrighty then, let's say thank you to the people that support this show, or rather the Week in Gear, and therefore the Year in Gear, here on YouTube first, this time for a change. Hello everybody, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it this year. You've made it a joy. And let's also say thank you to the people that support the show on Patreon. Hello everybody, you have done an amazing job of supporting me. I thank you very much. And here is a list of all the top tier members. Thank you so much for your support. I'm going to read them from my phone this time, and I'm not going to do it in one breath, I don't think. But let's see what happens. Alinta Boston, April Hughes, Buddha Blue, Boom Shakalaka, Buzzle, Dirk, Doug Paget, Hugh Erection, Yindrik Strelka, Johnny McBadminton, Michael Lerner Inhale. This prank is officially sponsored by Jason Welch, Andrew Morgan, Gary O'Neill, Josh Tamberg, Peter Hall, PQ Dates, Robin Callie, Sarang Narayan, and Southern Panda 33. Yes! Good start for 2025. Start as you mean to go on. I had a lot of fun making this list. I'm glad that you stayed to this part. And before I leave you, here is my favorite comment from the past 7 days. This week's Geek of the Week, and possibly Geek of the Year, is Miguel Marty 6537. And they commented, "No pedal guts are worth more than €10 in components. The rest of the money goes into labor, casing, profits, and branding. Thank you, Behringer, for busting the buble." Now, I know he means bubble, and I'm pretty sure that English is not his first language, so I'm not going down that road. It's just busting the buble really made me laugh. It really made me laugh. And it still does, and I'm really trying hard to contain it. Busting the buble sounds like... Let me know what you think busting the buble means down in the comments section, if it's an expression, you know? Where you go, I'm really going to be busting the buble tonight. Or maybe it just means playing a easy listening CD. No, come up with something fun. And sorry, Miguel Marty, Miguel Marty 6537, not picking on you, amazing. Just, you made me laugh. Thank you. There are links to much of the gear all over my YouTube channel. If you choose to buy anything through them, you will support the channel, and I appreciate it very much. And YouTube thinks you should watch that video next. So I'll see you over there. Happy 2024, and thanks for sticking with me for so long. I will see you next year. Bye-bye!